Welcome back to Conversation with Buddy. I'm your host, Buddy Puckett. Thank you so much for being here today. Again, we do this every week. We talk about faith, family, finance, fitness, football. Lots of games still going on. We're still early in January. By the time you hear this, it'll be probably later January. Question for you. Do you ever struggle with sharing your faith? Because this is a faith-based podcast. We talk about Jesus and from a biblical perspective. That's what we believe. That's what I believe, I should say. And but do you ever struggle sharing your faith? And what is it that causes us not to share our faith? Well, one element might be fear, and that's really the tool of Satan to keep us from doing that. So we're fearful oftentimes. Doesn't mean we've lost our salvation, but we can succumb to fear. And today we're going to hear a man talk about maybe his fear to faith journey and what God has done to use him for his glory. And sometimes there's points of pain, what God takes us through. And so we're going to hear a little bit of that today. And I think it's happened in my life. Maybe it's happened in your life, this fear to faith journey. And it's a process. So, well, without further ado, let me introduce you to John Hirte. Welcome, John.
Thank you, buddy. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. I love your outfit, by the way.
Thank you.
You got the hat on, you got the American flag. You said your kids like to buy you jogging outfits.
Yeah, that and fedora hats.
And fedora hats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wear those too.
All righty, man. That's awesome. Well, you and I talked about how we first met. I think it's probably been a couple years ago that we met. Maybe either Bible study, food for thought. What's your thoughts? What do you remember?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
I remember seeing you around both of those venues, and mainly I think because that Wednesday morning group is a little smaller.
Yeah,
we were able to interact a little bit more, but. It was, that was the initial one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm on my way here. You and I were chatting on the phone, which was pretty cool. We're going to unpack part of your journey of this fear to faith journey. And I know that we've all experienced maybe a little fear of sharing our faith. I'm not sure why it would be fearful if we know, God of the universe through Christ saves us. What is that we fear? And so we're gonna dive into that throughout this podcast. But what I like to do is I want to know who John is. I want to know, where was John born? Tell me about mom and dad. Tell us the early days. Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Corvallis.
Are you Beaver?
Yeah, I'm a Beaver fan. Yeah,
Go Beavs.
Yeah, go Beavs.
Go
I love
Beavs.
the Beavs. I used to ride my bicycle with my buddies, and we'd go down to Parker Stadium. We'd climb the fence, and we could look at the scoreboard. And then at halftime, they'd kick the gates open. All the drunk tailgaters would leave, and we'd go in and watch D1 football any seat we wanted to.
Are you kidding me?
It's great.
Well, real quick, were you a football player growing up at all? I mean, did that motivate you as a? I mean, you're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I played Corvallis Boys Club and went to Crescent Valley High School. Yeah, 3 sports: football, wrestling, track.
Look at you.
And then went on to play at Azusa Pacific. If you remember Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Wow.
We were teammates for 2 years. My first 2 years was his last 2 years.
Okay. Wow.
Tried to tackle him a couple times. It didn't work out.
Didn't work out very well. That's funny. Okay, so you grew up in Corvallis. What was life like growing up in Corvallis? Tell me about mom and dad.
Well, early on, Dad was. I was born when Dad was on his first tour to Vietnam. A month after he left, I was born.
No kidding.
And that was 1966. And so my first year was, absent him, and then he was home for a year, and then back over to Vietnam for another year. And so I do remember when he came home, though. That was it was kind of a funny thing. I was in I went to Highland View Middle School, and I was turning in a paper to my social studies teacher, and he had a geisha doll little like 10-inch geisha doll on his desk. He was fascinated with Japan. And I saw that, and it was like, wham, it hit me. I'd never thought about this before. I remember the day my dad came home from Vietnam because he brought my sisters these huge geisha dolls in glass cases. And I mean, it was like a party day. He had all these gifts and all this stuff, and it hit me. I mean, that was a big memory coming back. And so he, there was some tragedies, of course, in Vietnam. He lost his battalion commander. He was on his way to becoming a general, and Dad was going to ride his coattails as far as he could, but he was KIA, and Dad was supposed to be on that helicopter with him. He in fact was strapped in, and they came running out on the helipad, and my dad was the logistics officer, and there was some issue that he had to take care of, and so he goes, "Well, sir, I'll see you on the next one." Unbuckled, got out of the helicopter, and none of those guys survived.
What'd you say?
Killed in action. KIA.
KIA. Killed in action. Got it.
So he had a lot of survivor's guilt, and when I was a kid, I remember my dad being pretty hard on me, and I didn't realize at the time what tough love is.
Yeah. That's not fun, is it?
I think he had a lot of tough love in him. Didn't have a real good relationship with my dad until I was older, after I'd graduated high school. And but I think that had a lot to do with my maturity and growing up. And so Dad got out of the Army and worked for Weyerhaeuser for a couple of years planting trees because he had a forestry degree from Oregon State. Yeah. And then he got into real estate and then just made a boatload of money. I mean, we had money. Money was not an issue in my family. Yeah. And then the late 70s came and 21% interest rates.
It's a problem. Yeah.
Dad had built kind of a real estate empire that crumbled. Yeah. And I mean, we went from having everything to really absolutely having nothing. I mean, he gathered the family around and says, "Hey, I'm going to the bank today and they're going to repossess the house and the car. And I got to see if I can salvage that." And he came home, he says, "Hey, they're going to let me keep my car because he's as a real estate agent, he needed his car to show clients houses. And they let us keep our house. But we went from everything to nothing. And so growing up, in high school, it's like Crescent Valley is kind of a preppy, everybody's got money, and it was tough because I didn't have the right brands and clothes, and I wanted to fit in. That's one thing that I really wanted to do. I'm the youngest in my family. I got 3 older siblings, and I think that's part of the whole, tying into the being rejected and being fearful to share Christ. Yeah, it ties into, it's like, I want to be accepted. I want people to like me, and I'm going to do what I have to do to not be rejected. And so that was a big part of me. And I excelled in sports and I had good friends, but I don't know that. I mean, I may have told my friends that I went to church. Yeah. But I know that if you asked any of my high school friends growing up, "Hey, do you think John Hirte's a Christian?" They probably say, "Doubt it."
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Well, okay, so real quick. So your dad went to Vietnam. How old were you when he first went his first tour?
He left in November. I was born in December.
Okay.
Of 66.
So he left before you were born?
Yeah.
Okay. That was tour 1? Yep. He came back. You're what? Would he go for a year at a time?
Yeah. I was about a year old.
Like, oh, hey, there's my dad.
Yeah. And then he left again when I was around 2.
He stayed for a year, gone again.
Yeah. And then it was, I was about 3 or 4. It might not have been exactly 1 year, right, but whatever the time frame was.
Yeah. How'd your mom deal with dad being gone? I mean, that's just what it was. You got drafted or...
No, he went to ROTC at
Gotcha.
Oregon
He already
State.
voluntarily went into the military. Yeah.
And he was going to be a career soldier, combat engineer, smart dude. And, just like his dad, my grandfather, I mean, they could build and create and they were part of that generation. If you didn't have it, you could make it.
Yeah.
And so he thought, he was going to be a career soldier, and, mom was left to raise 4 kids on her own. And, there were times where she was just kind of, she was dealing with her own issues. And I remember we'd take us, I remember one time we were at the park, we were at Avery Park in Corvallis.
Yeah.
And I was playing with my siblings, and I got a stick poked into my foot. I mean, penetrated my foot. And mom was just kind of oh, whatever.
Okay.
I was like,
sorry about that.
Yeah. So she had her own issues.
Yeah.
And, spiritual issues and also, dad being gone, and that was hard on them, and I, having been deployed myself to Afghanistan, you talk about, well, it's hard on the soldier. Well, the very first casualty of war, I think, is the family. It's that, am I ever going to see you again? It's the daily, am I going to get that Red Cross notification? I think it's really hard on the family that's waiting and wondering.
Right, you look at the soldier, you go, at least your dad was voluntary. He signed up for ROTC, went in, versus being drafted.
Right.
Number one, I'm going in. That's still, hey, I'm going to war. I might die.
Yeah.
That's hard, but also the family left behind, mom raising 4 kids.
Right.
Real quick, on your siblings that were older than you, you're the 4th one. Give me the names, ages, boy, girl, or whatever they were.
My oldest sibling, Lisa, is 5 years older, almost to the day. She was born on December 24th, and I was born on December 27th, 5 years later.
All right.
And it's interesting that her life and my life are almost parallel without trying.
That's interesting.
There's so many parallels. We both lived in foreign countries. We both married, people from those countries, speaking that language, studying overseas. We both have masters. Well, she's one up me now. She's a doctor.
She's one up you, man.
Yeah. So
boom.
We both went to Willamette. Well, she did her undergrad there. I did my master's at Willamette. So, I mean, we got married the same year.
Wow.
We both had 2 kids. Yeah. We both had a boy first and then a girl. It's uncanny how parallel our lives are. And then my next sibling is Matt. He's a musician. Thankfully, he got out of LA last year. It was just, he was in a downward spiral. He's been down there his whole life trying to make it in the music business, but that is such a cutthroat business. It's terrible. And he's an amazing musician too.
No kidding.
And so he's living in Medford with my sister and my mom now.
Okay.
And then my next oldest sister, Andrea, she's 2 years older than I am.
Is that the one that's living with your mom?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she went down there to help.
Matt, Andrea.
Yeah. And Lisa currently lives in Finland still. She's lived there since 90, I think.
It's funny. I wanted to call you Little John, but you ever heard the song Big John?
Yeah.
You're like Big John.
Big John.
Big John. I love that song. So, well, okay. So you, are you still close with your siblings?
Somewhat. In spirit, yes. Obviously, with Lisa being so far away, it's tough. She's in Finland still. She works. Finland. Okay. Yeah, she works as a research assistant for professors at the University of Helsinki. Just absolutely loves her job doing research and reading, and she helps them get publications ready, prepared for publication. So, we haven't seen her for a while, and it's expensive to travel to and from Finland, so we haven't seen much of her. And then I haven't seen Matt since he got up here from LA.
Yeah.
And then I do see my other sister, Andrea. She goes back and forth. We were supposed to see her just a couple weeks ago. Mom and her were up for the holidays, but she ended up getting sick, so they hunkered down and didn't see them. So
you didn't get to see them when they came up?
No.
Oh, no kidding. That's So how often would you normally see your mom?
Well, she used to live with us, so
she did. Okay.
Yeah, she ended up having to go down to Medford to care for her sister, had congestive heart failure.
Okay.
And Annie Jill passed like a year ago or so.
Yeah.
And so they decided to stay down there.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. All right. So, I get, Dad went to Vietnam. Man, I'm sure those struggles continue. Did you ever deal with PTSD or anything?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't that would go in the military? If you ever go, if you get deployed, that has to have a major effect on you.
He had survivor's guilt because there were so many times. I mean, he would tell me some of the same stories quite repetitively, and just the guilt that why did he survive? And some of his men that didn't were, he talked very, very highly of them, and why did they have to die and not him? And just real heroic type stuff. Combat engineers are when you think of Vietnam and combat, you think infantry and helicopters and going out on missions and being out in the jungle. Well, the thing is having been a former infantryman myself, it's like if you hit an obstacle, what do? You call for the engineers, and the engineers. Sometimes they have to fight their way into an obstacle to destroy it so that the infantry can move through and continue the fight. Okay. So, I mean, they're kind of part infantry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that
And they didn't know they signed up for that, but apparently they did.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Okay, they did.
But, my combat engineer brethren, they'll be going, pound their chest. But, so combat engineers is no joke. If they have to crawl into an obstacle to clear it, that's a tough job. Oh. So, they in Vietnam they were also construction, so they would build bridges and roads and just whatever infrastructure. Plus, they would have to clear these mines. They would do route clearance and roadside bombs. I mean, they had pressure plates and stuff like that. Even in Vietnam, that wasn't a new thing that was just in Iraq and Afghanistan. But Dad was part of all that, and he was out there in the jungle, and they had bulldozers and dump trucks and lumber and cement and mixers, and I mean they had all this equipment. And he'd tell me about times where they'd have sappers, demolition guys, Vietnamese, running through their compound with satchel charges, throwing them up into the dump trucks to try to destroy the trucks or the backhoes or whatever. And you can't shoot at them because, you got a guy running through your compound, you're going to be shooting your own people as well. So it was tough. And, he relayed one night they were getting mortared. He said they got mortared every night. They got attacked every day. And they could see the flash of the mortar. And he was the company commander, and he had an artillery battery on his, in his area of operation. So he had them bore sight the mortar team. And the issue was that the commander of the battery outranked Dad. And so he called up the higher to find out can we fire in this direction? And they said no, because there was a village off in that area, and they didn't want to have friendly casualties. And so they denied the order, and I guess Dad said they took like nine killed or 9 casualties or something like that. Yeah. And it just infuriated my dad, because it's like, that could have been prevented. He was a real no nonsense guy. Mm-hmm. If there was something to do, it's like, just get it done, and not worry about, oh, well, what if, you deal with that if it happens. But anyway, so he held a lot of that stuff.
Well, it's interesting hearing the story of your dad. Seems like a lot of, older generation military, whatever they saw at war, they didn't bring home or didn't talk about at home. Maybe that's not true. Maybe guys do a better job, but that's what I've always heard is like, yeah, my dad never talked about that. It sounds like your dad talked about a lot of stuff.
On occasion, he would tell me stuff. I mean, it wasn't until I was in the military as well.
Gotcha. You actually understand what he's talking about.
I don't remember him saying anything about anything
until
before I was in. Yeah.
Okay. And
I think guys deal with it differently too. I mean, you have your, was it the flags of our fathers? The main person in that. They saw quite a bit, came home and became I think he was a mortician, and lived a comfortable, quiet life and didn't really say anything, and, didn't have that, I don't know, that he wasn't fighting his demons.
Right.
But then you take another guy like Ira Hayes, one of the Iwo Jima flag raisers. And I mean, that guy drank himself to death.
Yeah.
And so just different people handle things differently.
Yeah.
And, some people, they outwardly lash out at people. They hurt people physically. Others internalize it, and they drink, they do whatever, and they destroy themselves within. And then other guys, you wouldn't even know they'd been exposed to the horrors of war.
Yeah.
And they adjust well. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's everybody deals with it differently.
Yeah. Sounds like life. Hey, walk me through kind of like those high school years. I know you did 3 sports. You obviously got a master's degree, so I want you to go through that. Tell me about high school. How was high school? You were trying to be accepted. Were you a Christian? Was your mom taking you to church? When did you accept the Lord?
I grew up in a church, Grand Avenue Baptist Church in Corvallis, and I went to preschool there. I, went through, all the way up through high school going to that church. Was baptized there at about 7 years old. It was a real foggy morning. We lived on Kings Boulevard, right across the street from the Fred Meyers. I remember watching Fred Meyer getting built in Corvallis. And so one morning I was staring out the window, and I saw my siblings disappear into the fog as they walked to what was Franklin Elementary School behind Fred Meyer. And I was like, that is absolutely amazing. There is a God. God exists. Just from a nature standpoint, and I still am just absolutely enamored with science, and I'm reading I'm listening to a book right now, Stephen Meyer's Signature in the Cell, and Hugh Ross's books on the universe and stuff, and I'm still just absolutely I'm so amazed by God's creation, and the King of the universe, and He loves me. And so at about 4 years old, I said, God, you're real. And I was about 7 when I was baptized. And then I went to Christian schools from fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, and then went back into public school, seventh grade. And then I was exposed to a lot of people I'd not been around before. And that's where I was like, okay, Christians weren't, I guess, that accepted. I don't know. I mean, I just felt like, okay, this is something that the world pushes away, so I better keep it quiet. And trying to fit in and trying to be cool and not really having a noticeable walk with the Lord, and having felt like it's free will, it's my free will, but then feeling a little bit pressured, like you have to do this, you have to. And I was like, well, I don't remember all those rules, being you have to do this and you have to do that. So I guess I was a Sunday Christian, and then Monday through Friday with my buddies and stuff, I'd kind of go do my own thing with them. And again, I lament that, because now I think about the eternal implications of, gosh, maybe I was the one person that could have said something that changed their life. I had a great friend, Mark Bain, and this guy was loved by everybody. He was awesome, and he would use Christ's name in vain, and I use that now. I take that as an opportunity. And if somebody uses my Lord and Savior's name in vain, I'll pull them aside and say, hey, I was in the Army. I speak Army. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that name is special to me. And for you to equate it to the other names, the other profanity, just, boy, that I'd appreciate it if at least when I'm around, if you could refrain from, and they're like, oh, I said that. Oh, wow. And it opens up, it's opened a door, and it's not my job to convert people.
Yeah.
But I'll share with them. And, I think it's as simple as, it's so significant to me that when we see a lot of the images of the crucifixion, some of them are just a single cross.
Yeah.
But the most significant to me is when there's three crosses.
Yeah.
And to me, it is, God works in such mysterious ways. He uses so many things to teach us stuff.
That's right.
And the fact that you had the world on one side mocking, and then you had somebody that knew they were lost. They knew that they needed Jesus, that reached out in that final moment. And it's so significant to me that Christ didn't spend another minute trying to convince. He goes, dude, you might want to rethink your position, because we're not that far off from heading to the other side.
Yeah.
And you're not going to make it if you have that attitude. And the other guy goes, Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom. That's all it takes. A simple acknowledgement that he is Christ. And so maybe I could have been that to some of these people. And I really missed the opportunity. And so now I make sure I take advantage of that opportunity. Yeah. And one of the other things that we were talking about earlier is, I have some medical issues. And so whenever I'm around medical people, I share that. And some of them are just like that guy on the cross. They're like, well, whatever. And others are like, wow. And others are like, thank you for sharing that with me. And I leave it at that. I don't have the knowledge and all the stuff to, really be, so sophisticated to tell somebody all this stuff. It's to me, it's just super simple.
Yeah.
And you believe, and all the other stuff, it's like the thief on the cross, did he get baptized?
No, I love saying that too.
Did he speak in tongues?
Nope.
Did he give tithe?
Nope. He did nothing. He didn't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Yet Christ said, I'll see you in paradise.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty simple.
I was like, when people, hey, buddy, do I need to be baptized to be saved? Well, let me tell you a story. There were 3 people on the cross. And I would say, hey, when he said that, hey, Jesus, remember me when you go into your kingdom. She said, I will remember you. And did he get off the cross, go down, get baptized, get back up on the cross? And no, the answer is no.
Yeah.
And so there you go. It doesn't require baptism. Baptism is always that outward expression of what's going on inside. Sure. It's not a salvation issue. It's not a works-based issue. So to your point, yeah. This is good, man. Hey, after high school, I want to hear, and you're a married guy, right?
Yes.
Okay, you got 2 kids?
2 kids. Okay.
Walk us through the journey of after high school, you probably went to college, when did you go to military, and then who's this special lady?
Yeah, so my brother had a real good friend, Dave Johnson, Olympic decathlete Dave Johnson. You may have heard of him.
Oh,
so he went to Crescent Valley as well. And he
Dave Johnson did?
Yeah, he was a buddy of my brother. And so when I was getting ready to go to college, he says, hey, come check out Azusa Pacific. And I was getting some interest from Oregon State to play there, but my dad told me, he goes, look, you live 5 minutes away from campus. They're never going to give you a penny because they're going to invest that money into somebody that's out of the, somewhere else in the state or out of state to get them to come.
Recruit them, yeah.
So I kind of thought, well, yeah, I'd end up playing it because that's what happened to him. He was living local and playing on the football team, and he was a stud, and he was pushing around the starters, and they'd never move him off the practice list. And so he just said, fine. And he resented that a little bit. And I think that from his experience, he was like, hey, they're going to do the same thing to you.
Got it. Yeah.
So, Dave invited me down to Azusa Pacific. It's Southern California. Yeah. It's sunny. It's warm. I don't think we ever played a single game in the rain. I think it might have sprinkled one practice.
That doesn't happen in Oregon, man.
So anyway, went to Azusa Pacific, and it was my 3rd year. I declared a major of international studies, and part of the requirement was to study in a program outside of the United States for a semester. So I chose the Christian College Coalition Latin American Studies program. Okay. And ended up in Costa Rica, and was assigned to a household, Castillo Flores, that had this beautiful young girl. And I was just like, wow. I was smitten the first time I saw her. I thought she was super young, though. I mean, honestly, I thought she was about 12. And she was 20. We were the same age.
No kidding.
Yeah. She's beautiful. She's always been beautiful. Everybody loves her. And so there was a little bit of a challenge because she had a boyfriend at the time.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It can be. And so she ended up leaving Costa Rica for Austria for a year and a half. And she was doing some work for a family over there, and we stayed in touch, and she'd broken up with her boyfriend. So things developed long distance. With FaceTime and texting and all this technology today, I had to write letters, those airmail blue and red envelopes.
Oh yeah, man.
And it took about a month, for to get turnaround on a letter.
Swear.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah. So 2 weeks there and 2 weeks back. So if you had a pressing question, it's going to be a month. Or you can call on the phone, and they didn't have international calling plans back then. It was like $2.50 a minute.
Yeah. Back then it was a lot of money.
Oh man. So anyway, we stayed in touch for the next 3 years. I visited Costa Rica a couple times, proposed to her. And then after graduation, I moved down there and we got married and lived in Costa Rica for 5 years.
No kidding.
And I did a number of things, ended up getting into education. And so it was a tough go. I mean, people love visiting Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country, great people, great food, but it's expensive. And with it's kind of a hub for money laundering for narco traffickers. And so it's a weird economy. And I felt like we were going backwards. And so finally I just said, hey, baby, we're going to go home. And she's like, what? I am home.
This is home. No.
So we moved back to Oregon and she loves it here.
Had she ever been to Oregon up until that point?
We visited our first year anniversary. Yeah. My folks paid for us to have a ticket and brought us home for Christmas. And that was her only experience. Yeah. And then moved here in 95, and then we've been here ever since. And
so you got married in 1990, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And I got into, I'd been thinking about the military the whole time, and I'd been studying manuals and things, and I thought, well, if we go back to the States, I'll join the National Guard. Yeah. And so that was one of the things I did was I took some tests, got guaranteed into officer candidate school, ended up going to basic training. And so I had the full experience of being a private in basic training and then going to officer candidate school, state OCS at that time it was at Monmouth, Western Oregon University, and got commissioned as a second lieutenant in the infantry and spent 16 years with the Oregon National Guard Infantry and 18-month deployment to Afghanistan, and then decided to switch over to the Army Reserve, and I was 10 years with the 364th Civil Affairs Brigade out of Clackamas. And so I retired after 26 years with Civil Affairs Lieutenant Colonel. Yeah. And so that was kind of coinciding with when we moved back. I was doing the officer candidate school while I was going to Willamette to get my master's in teaching, and to use my Spanish that I'd learned. I started Spanish when I was in 7th grade. Oh, no way. And took it all the way through college and still couldn't speak it. And so then when I finally moved to Costa Rica, I learned it pretty good. And
interesting when you get just fully involved in a culture that it requires it. Oh, yeah. How quickly you can probably learn that.
Yeah. So wanted to put my Spanish to use, and so I taught Spanish. And my last 10 years in the classroom, I was at Jervis High School. Okay. And I was teaching beginner Spanish, and I was also teaching native speaker Spanish. So it's like we take English grammar all the way through school. Right. And so a lot of these native speakers, they can speak the language, but they don't understand any of the grammar or the construction of the language at all. So I was teaching them that, which is good. I mean, I think that they benefit from learning about something that's theirs. Yeah. I grew up speaking this and now I understand it better. So right. And then we got into foster care. Okay. And so we do foster care for adults with disabilities. Okay. And right now we've got 3 young men that live with us. And okay. So
you're busy, man. That's a full-time.
It keeps us busy. Yeah. So just making sure that they're quality of life and try to teach them new skills. And we include them in the family. I mean, they go with us everywhere.
Yeah.
We took them to Costa Rica with us, and
no kidding.
we went on vacation there. And I love airplanes and air shows, and so we have the men's weekend out at Madras at the air show. The air shows of the Cascades. And they like doing that because it's just us out there.
Does Madras host the best one over like even Hillsboro or?
Well, it's small, so it's very intimate, and I can park the RV on the flight line. It's absolutely the best thing. I mean, it's like I'm sitting under the shade of my
awning or whatever.
Yeah, and eating a sandwich, and I'm watching an air show. It's like the coolest thing.
Okay.
So
I'm into that. That'd be cool. Hey, let's. I mean, I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
So after, after high school, college, you propose, get married. When did you guys decide to have kids? Was it during Costa Rica or when you got up here? And tell us about your kids.
Yeah, it was probably about 89, somewhere in late 88, early 89. Sadly, we had a miscarriage.
Okay.
And that really affected Patricia, but that's my wife, Patricia.
Right, okay.
And so then we found out that happens about 25% of first pregnancies can end up as a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And then I was... I came home first, and then she followed me after that in 90, or 95, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I think they say fondness makes the heart grow fonder.
Okay.
And so she ended up getting pregnant pretty quick after she got home.
Okay.
And after she came to Oregon, and so our son Matthew was born in 96.
Okay.
And I had just finished basic training.
Yeah.
And it was good that he waited until I got home, because she would have been real upset at me if I hadn't have been there with her.
Yeah.
And it was not an easy pregnancy. Well, not an easy birth. She didn't dilate enough, and so it was an emergency C-section. And there's some residual effects of that. But he's very into music, sings real well, and very musical. And then about 4.5 years later, we had our daughter Christy, and they both graduated from West Salem High School. Yeah, and Christy went on to Corbin University, so she just graduated a year ago with a degree in ministries.
Nice.
And so she's trying to find her way right now, doing. She's a licensed travel agent, so she's trying to get a...
Is she around 25, 26?
Correct, 25.
And your son's what, 29?
Yes, correct.
It's funny, just real quick, you and I have a little bit of similarities, because I went to Western Oregon, my wife and I did. We were married for, 4 or 5 years before we had our first child. We have 2 daughters, 28 and 26.
Okay.
But I just see some similarities there. My daughters both love music, and I don't know, it's kind of funny. How old are you, John?
I just turned 59.
Okay, so I'm a couple years behind you.
Yeah.
Just turned 57. So, yeah, we're getting up there, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what's it mean to be a dad to you?
Well, having had a pretty rough relationship with my dad when I was younger, I didn't want to be that, hard-nosed authoritarian, tough love. And there are aspects of that I think that are necessary. And my kids, of course, they didn't grow up just getting away with anything and everything.
Sure.
And kids don't come with instructions. And
right.
We have, two kids that grew up together in the same household, same parents, same everything, and they couldn't be more different.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So, it it is a little painful. Well, I wouldn't say a little. It is. It's very painful for me that I cried when I heard my son's heartbeat for the first time, and I was just like, man, I'm going to have a relationship with this kid that I didn't have with my dad, and for whatever reason, I didn't, and I don't. I mean, and that's one of the things that I lift up in prayer is my son. He's lost. He needs Jesus. And we're believing for him, for his salvation, and you know, I've heard some of your other guests talk about, you know, going through hard times, and one of the things that I think about, and I like to see these interviews with some of these celebrities that have gone from the church to the world and then back to the church, and Alice Cooper was talking about how he went through some tough stuff, alcoholism, drug addiction. And he's like, God, why did I have to suffer through all that? And he was being interviewed, and he's like, okay, well, I told my pastor I can't be Alice Cooper anymore. And he says, why not? You're the king of the Philistines, and you're in the middle of their camp. You can still be Alice Cooper, but you're a Christian now, and you can shine that light. And people said that he was going to be done, finished, over, and he's more successful now than he was before. And that's what I'm believing for my son, is that he's going to become the voice in the wilderness for people like him. That
John the Baptist, man.
People that think like him, that have that. It's that millennial mindset, and it's like, man, I'm just believing that we are going through this in order for there to be a testimony at the end. And you look at the Bible, and how many people went through so much bad. I mean, look at the woman at the well.
I know. It's a great story,
and,
man.
You know, it's like, okay, she had how many husbands? 5?
Yeah.
And so there's probably a lot of pain and rejection. She went through hell. But why? It was for Christ to intervene and touch her life. And then she was made whole. So sometimes we go through, and I mean, that's a lot of suffering. 5 husbands. How long was that? But the reward at the end, he makes us whole and takes away all that sorrow. And that's what I'm believing for my son, is that we are going through this, and it's for a greater purpose, and it'll touch lives of people that we don't even know yet.
Just a quick story real quick. You know, I grew up in church, you know, probably the latter part of my high school years. I'm sure we were Christmas and Easter during my younger years, but I remember going to church during my high school years, and me and my cousin, he was a year younger than me, and we had partied the night before. We were probably drunk or hungover my entire high school. Like, that was it. And so I continued that lifestyle, that prodigal son lifestyle. You know, I knew about God. I didn't know a Bible verse. I didn't own a Bible. And so a few years later, 23, I get married. And then for 5 years, we try to have kids. We can't. And then one day, a couple guys asked me if I wanted to join a Bible study. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Well, at 28, I get saved. And so I look back and like, how did I miss that? Why didn't God open my eyes earlier? What was the problem? I don't know. Even my dad and I talk about that. Like, I don't know. But what I do know is I'm saved today. I've been saved for, almost 30 years. And God saved me. He had, if you look at my life, I had a mom and dad. We look good. I had a sister. We look like just a great little family, and like everything's just perfect. But I'm lost, right? And so, no matter how good we look on the outside, if we don't know Christ, we're lost. And so, there's a day and a time where God, in His patience and His mercy and His grace, He, continue praying that we're going to believe that He's going to open the eyes of your son and all those who are lost, and that they would come to know Christ. Satan has, he's a thief. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And anytime a seed is planted, it gets swooped up or whatever. But we're going to pray that gets planted firmly in the ground and that your son believes. Is there anything, looking back, not that you and I control salvation, we don't convert, we're just the messengers. Is there anything that God's, hey, John, here's what you could have done different? And I'm not sure that God does that, but what's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, growing up in a Christian home, I didn't see abuse from my dad, towards my mom. He was a tough disciplinarian on me, but I wouldn't call it abuse.
Yeah.
And I just, I didn't have that experience where it's like, wow, this was just life transformation. Mm. I didn't have that. It's just, everything was, it was just on the, I guess, what's the word? On the level. I mean, it was, this is life. This is the world. Mm-hmm. It's a Christian world. It's loving. It's two parents. It's, and then you find out that it's not. And so that changed my perspective a little bit, but it's not like I was, going to abandon God or anything. But I looking back, I just think that it is the work of the devil to have made me feel like, well, I need to hide my Christianity. I don't need to share that with other people.
Yeah.
And so, and we touched on this a little bit on the phone, that, being bold about my faith now. And I have that in me now, where, Charlie Kirk said to be bold about your faith.
Yeah.
And when you have a significant emotional event in your life, things get real. And I told you about the email I got, and
unpack that a little bit. Unpack this email. And how long ago was this?
This was, it was November 7th, 2021.
Okay.
Actually back up a few days. It was probably the 4th when I got the email.
November 4th, 2021.
Yeah.
A little over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had gone to the doctor to get a lump checked out. I in my hip flexor, I kind of felt something that didn't feel right, and I went to the doctor. And so, fast forward through multiple tests and things, and then I get an email that says you have metastasized cancer, carcinoid tumors, neuroendocrine cancer. And, that's one of those moments where the world just stops turning. And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at my screen. I'm thinking, I'm a dead man. And wow, what do I have?
You're 54. You haven't yet turned 55 yet.
Right. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm a goner. Do I have weeks? Do I have days, months, years? What do I have left? I don't know. And, having been in a combat zone, I'd kind of made peace with if I was to die, you're flying over the desert and, just just waiting for an RPG round to come up and hit the bird and take you out, and or hit a roadside bomb or something, anything. So at the moment I was like, well, I've lived a pretty good life, and all right, okay, if this is your plan, God, to take me out, then all right, I'm ready. But then I started thinking, well, wait a minute, that's kind of selfish. My wife might have something to say about that.
You got a different opinion.
My kids, and I got mom, and so I was thinking, wow, I need to rethink this thing a little bit. And then so I did tell my wife, and 3 days later, we're at West Salem Foursquare Church, and Pastor Phelan was praying during communion. And
this is 3 days before?
This is 3 days after getting the email.
Oh, after you got the email. Okay.
And he doesn't know. I didn't tell anybody. And so it's that clip I showed you where he's praying for healing.
Yeah.
And he's saying, if there's anybody here that needs some healing. And I was standing there, and I started to weep, and I was like, God, yeah, I could use some of that healing. And you saw it in the video where he goes, and if it's cancer, and he knife-handed. I was sitting right in the back where he knife-handed me. And I started bawling like a baby.
Did you really?
And, unbeknownst to me, because we were just starting this journey, I had to go see the surgeon, and, he went through all the CAT scans and PET scans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, you have a 4-centimeter tumor in your heart tissue, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to cut on it because it's right there by your heart. And so if we can get the primary tumor out of your small intestine, then that one it'll be benign. It's not going to hurt you. It'll just sit there and do nothing. And so he sent me in for a echocardiogram to get a closer look at it and just study it. Or, he's like the top neuroendocrine surgeon in the world.
Wow.
And so, at OHSU, he's also a teacher, and he has students. And so he's probably going to use it for educational purposes. Yeah. And so he ordered the echocardiogram, and I went in for it. I was first patient of the day. And so the technician, he's getting all of his instruments warmed up and ready to go. And I'm laying on my side, and I'm watching him, and so he's referring to some notes, and gets his wand out and starts, wanding around on my chest, and then he gets a kind of a funny look on his face, and he starts referring back to his notes, and he's looking at the screen and back to his notes, and he's confused. He couldn't find the tumor, and so I believe that when Pastor Phelan said that there would be healing from cancer, that I was healed. That tumor is gone. And when I talked to the surgeon again, I go, Doc, what do you call that? And he's like, well, and I go, what do you mean? That's a miracle. And he goes, well, sometimes these things happen. And I'm like, no, they don't. Not when you go and you're having communion and the pastor prays and points at you and says healing from cancer. That's not a coincidence. And so I'm very purposeful now, and I use that experience to be bold and to be open about my faith and to share with others, because I don't know if I'm the only person that they would listen to, or maybe they've heard it 100 times, and maybe that one time more is what really gets them to think about eternity. And, we're going to be dead and gone a lot longer than we ever were here. And I think about that more now, 59, I got friends that have passed, We probably both have people that we know that are in their 50s that aren't with us anymore.
Yep.
And when we hear that they were saved, it's sad. It hurts. We have a friend that just passed a few weeks ago, and it hurts.
Yeah.
And knowing that they're now made whole, they have a new body, they're in heaven, they're with Jesus, they've run the good race, they fought the good fight. It gives peace and comfort. And yeah, we're going to miss them until we meet again, but it's that knowing that people are saved or not saved. And if somebody tells me, yeah, you know what, I'm good, I'm like, okay, well, at least you heard.
Yeah.
I did my part.
Right.
And I shared the good news with you.
Yeah.
And I shared salvation with you.
Yeah.
And you either you're the thief on the left or you're the thief on the right. And I'm not going to badger you about it.
Yeah. Which thief are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that experience, as scary as it was, and I still have residual issues that I deal with. They're not, particularly debilitating, but they are extremely inconvenient.
Yeah.
But I go through that to have a testimony for people.
Yeah. I think God uses us. We're His. We're dead. The old buddy, the old John is dead. We were bought with the blood of Jesus, right? If we believe in Jesus. And God's going to use us however He wants. And if He wants to use you and give you, it's not like He gives you cancer, but He allows you to get cancer. And God, then He's going to get the glory through this.
Yeah.
And He's going to use you, John. And your light is going to shine a lot brighter during this time.
Sure.
And I believe that. How's that for you? How's that grown you closer to your wife, maybe to Matt? And tell me your daughter's name again.
Christy.
How's that maybe brought you guys closer, or has it?
Well, in some aspects, yes, it has. But as time goes on and I'm seemingly not, I do give thanks that you hear a lot of horror stories about people that go through chemotherapy or, they're in remission and then it comes back. Yeah. And, cancer is such a horrific thing. And for me, it's not that evident, even though I still have tumors and I still get monthly treatment. But it's not chemo. It's not something that's real invasive. But my wife definitely is extremely thankful, and she gives thanks to God every day that the surgery was successful, and that I have a new lease on life. A lot of times people don't know they even have this until later in life. They're, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah. And
because the changes are real subtle. And I just thought, well, I'm just getting old. So these physiological changes that I'm going through are just normal aging. But then when I found that lump in the node.
Hip flexor? Or?
Yeah, it's in my hip flexor, but it's in a, what are those nodes called?
A lymph node type
lymph
thing?
node, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first indicator. And so, being in my mid-50s, the tumors weren't extremely huge. When I was in recovery, the doctor would come up from, and check on me, and he'd go, yeah, here, this is He'd show me pictures on his phone. He goes, "This is what I just pulled out of this lady," and I mean, they're giant tumors.
Wow.
That are swimming around in their liver
Yeah,
and different areas and impacting their intestines,
Right.
and so when you're older, it's quite a bit more serious, and they only talk about lifespan of beyond 5 years.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm coming up on 5 years.
Come
It's
on.
like, but the thing is that's just that's what they study is it's a 5-year thing.
Yeah.
And so there's people
God.
that live for, 10, 15,
Yeah,
20
yeah,
years
yeah,
later.
yeah.
So, I don't fear that. And, my wife is, she's, it's just like one of those things. It's kind of a close call, I guess. And so she's appreciative of that.
Yeah,
That God gave me more time,
A second chance.
yeah. And I am very close with my daughter. She ran track at Corbin, so she's athletic and college, and so we have a lot of things in common, and so we're very close. And she's living for the Lord, and that's something that I'm thankful for, that I know her her future is secure in Christ.
Yeah.
And then I just have to pray for my son.
Yeah. Are either of them married?
No.
Okay.
Christy very much would like to get married.
Yeah. Sounds like I got one daughter who'd love to get married, and one's married. And God will appoint the right guy at the right time. Period. Right.
Yeah.
We have to believe in that.
Yeah, and she's got a great head on her shoulders, and she's dated some guys, and she's told them, okay, these are the non-negotiables. And
Your daughter sounds like my daughter.
Yeah, and
Don't waver.
some guys are like, no, I was thinking that we'd have a little bit more latitude than this.
No.
And so they're like, okay, well, I'm
out.
I'm going to go find somebody a little easier.
Yeah.
And so she is not wavering from that. And so I think by doing that, she's going to find a great husband. And, my wife and I, we pray for her husband. We don't even know him yet. Well, we don't think we know him, but
You're praying for that future husband. That's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done that. I always pray for my daughter that she'll have the patience to wait for the guy that God brings. But have I started praying for her future husband? I have not.
Yeah.
I think I need to add that to my list. Hey, 2 more questions. We're going to wrap up. Number 1, I noticed you have lots of rings on your hand. I want to hear about that.
Oh,
That's number 1. And then number 2, what are I don't know if you've heard this before, I've heard our pastor one time, he would tell a story like, these are the last words out of this person's mouth and this person's mouth. What do you want the last words out of your mouth to be? When you're on your deathbed and you're dying, what's going to come out? So,
well, first the rings. My wife, she wears a lot of rings, and I like them.
Yeah.
And she started giving me some like my dad's old ring, and we got okay. So the stories behind these. That little one that's our first wedding ring. That's what we could afford.
Yeah.
At the time,
Okay.
we were poor.
I got the same ring,
Costa
man.
Rican.
Yeah.
And that's what we got. And I always thought, you know what, we're going to get something nice when we can.
Yeah.
And so that was
Black Hills Gold. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. And then this is my dad's. That was his. And so my wife, she says, why don't you wear that too? So I miss my dad. It makes me, I think of him a lot when I have that. And I don't know. I love my dad. I didn't tell him that enough when he was alive.
Yeah.
That Mike and the Mechanic song, In the Living Years, because once I left for college, that was, I didn't see my dad a whole lot after that, but we did communicate quite a bit. And when we were together, it was great. And anyway, that's that one. And then just going on trips and going here and there
Yeah.
and seeing stuff. It's like, I like that. That's cool. And
Do you
it's
take them off at night, or you wear them all the time?
I pretty much wear these all the time.
You never take, okay.
Yeah. And so, the whole premise of like, being on a trip and keeping a momentum, a keepsake or whatever.
Yeah,
So it's like,
I like it,
it's
man.
either fedoras, tracksuits or rings.
Hey, cool. I like it, man. I like it.
And on my deathbed, I just, if I could hear Christ telling me, enter good and faithful servant, and my words would be thank you to Christ for salvation, for loving me enough, for dying for me. I mean, I think about that a lot. We see pictures of like, on the cross, they had that little foot shelf. I don't think they had that, comfortable little foot shelf. I think they just bent the feet over and just rammed that nail right through. And to think of your entire body weight, I get cramps in my feet at night.
Yeah.
And, oh, poor me. Could you imagine sustaining your entire body weight on a nail that's driven through your feet?
Well, and you're trying to pull yourself up,
and
your lungs are collapsing.
Yeah, and then having been lashed on your back and having raw hamburger for a back, and then I'm sure they didn't sand those crosses down so that they were smooth. And so, the pain and suffering is unimaginable. And that he did that for me is absolutely, no greater love than he who lays his life down for another. I just, that's the bottom line. Christ died for me so that I could have eternal salvation. And I owe it to him to share that good news with other people. Mm-hmm. And I do pray for opportunities to do that. And I am purposeful about there's some people that I it's like, okay, I want to get with this person. I want to pray for this person, and then I want to get with them and then share, and then pray that the ground is fertile, and that I could plant some seeds. And if they produce fruit immediately, great. But if not, maybe somewhere down the road when they have their significant emotional event, they can reach out. I just read about the creator of Dilbert, the Dilbert comic.
Okay.
And he has prostate stage. He's like on his way out, and he said that he's probably done doing podcasts and comics and stuff, and he thinks he's getting ready to go. And he goes, and I'm going to convert to Christianity because I heard that it's never too late. And I get it that some people, it's like, well, that's kind of cheap. You live your life how you want to, and at the very end you get right with God. Well, sometimes it takes the reality that I'm facing a permanent change in location. Yeah. And I'm going to be gone. And what do you do with eternity? A trillion years. Is that even, is a trillion years the beginning of eternity?
Just beginning.
What's the beginning of eternity?
Yeah.
And for a decision to either be made or rejected that's going to affect that, I'll give some people some latitude. And, maybe he grew up hearing about it or whatever, or maybe later in life, as, he's facing this cancer, somebody was telling him, hey man, you need to get right with God. And that is a golden opportunity when people have that life-changing moment. It's the door is open to say, hey, are you right with God? Are you ready to meet God, your creator?
That's a great question. Are you right with God? John, it sounds like you're an all-in guy, man. I walk away from this from a lot of takeaways. just because we're saved doesn't guarantee our kids will be.
Right.
That's our job's not to save. Our job is to share, and it's God's job, the Holy Spirit's job, to open the eyes, and we can trust that He has a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully trust and believe. Pray for our daughters' future husbands.
Yep.
Be bold about our faith. I mean, there's so many takeaways. I've been taking notes this whole time. Like, this is what I love.
Yeah.
Is I'm inspired. I'm encouraged. I mean, but what I heard you say is, on my deathbed, it was really, I didn't hear anything about, well, I wish I would have worked more hours. I wish I would have did more years in the Army. No. Thank you, Lord, for saving me, good and faithful. That you called me good and faithful servant, that I would follow you. And it was really the eternal perspective. And so thanks for that. I really appreciate that. It was really, really deep. So I think people are going to get a lot out of this. I think you shared your heart. Any last words that you think that you'd like to share that maybe we didn't cover?
Well, I did bring some notes to share. Probably would be appropriate at another time. But one thing that I'm really enjoying about God's Word right now is some of the maybe lesser known talked about things, especially dealing with culture in the Bible that I don't know. And I'll give you an example of something I just saw this week about the hyssop branch. Mm-hmm. We've heard that it was used to put the sponge to give the vinegar to Christ when He was on the cross. Yeah. Do you know the significance of that hyssop branch?
I do not.
It's amazing. And in Exodus, what did they use to apply the blood to the doorpost? It was specifically said to use lamb's blood with hyssop.
Hyssop. Okay. I don't know that I read that, but yeah.
And then if somebody was unclean under the old law, and they touched somebody that was clean, the clean person would become unclean. Yeah. And to become clean, you had to go do a ritual with the high priest or with a priest in the temple, and they would use hyssop. And so the whole significance that Christ, He rejected the vinegar, and the hyssop, it spread the blood of the lamb. Christ's blood was shed for us. It was put on the doorpost with hyssop. And so those connections that people are able to make, they blow my mind. And so it's like the same scriptures that I've read since I was a kid now have so much more meaning to me. It's like you watch a movie 2-3 times and you catch something new each time. Yeah. Well, I'm getting more and more out of those things that I've read and heard, and I love that because it's new every time. It's not boring, and I look forward to learning more about that, and to be able to enrich my walk with Christ more, and understand that there's so much that He gave us, and then so much more. Yeah, I'm just amazed by that.
Wow, that's a good way to end our podcast. Hey, thanks for being here this week. This is really there's a lot of meat here. By the way, I'm gonna have to go listen to it a couple more times, and I took a lot of notes on my phone, and I hope you are going to take good notes. And I hope you'll share this podcast with somebody. I mean, it's going to impact somebody somewhere. We don't know who. We'd love to hear if it impacted you. And by the way, if you'd ever want to be on my podcast, we would love to have you. Love to have a conversation with you. If you want to just reach out to me, I'll have my information in the show notes. And again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd love it that you would. And also maybe ask someone else to subscribe as well. John, thanks for being here today. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep. See ya.
All right.